Welcome, Mandla. We're discussing the art of war for business. What does Conquer Your Mountain say about this?
Thanks, Amanda. Conquer Your Mountain says, learn the art of war. Life can feel like one long war, battle after battle, but it does not need to be an all-out war if you're on the side of the one who has secured victory in advance for you.
What does the art of war mean in a business context?
In business, the art of war is really about, as a leader, what you do to use your value, the values that you have, the personal value that you see in yourself, your key attributes, how you use those tools, that inventory to plan strategically and to execute the battles that will give you the competitive advantage.
How do you prepare for difficult conversations or confrontations?
The preparation comes down to understanding the key pivots that you think that war will come up with. You've got an enemy, they've decided to attack you from the sea or from land. And if they're attacking from the sea, how are they going to do it? Are they going to use submarines? Are they going to use warships? And that preparation really talks to building scenarios that will preempt how that war may look like. So twisting that to business, you might be facing a showdown with a competitor, or maybe you've got a huge challenge with a labor union or some other challenge. The preparation is really trying to see what that war may look like and then planning your responses in advance.
So, how do you balance that competition and collaboration in the business world while you're involved in corporate wars?
Collaboration means it's actually not a war, but you'll form a strategic alliance. And it's the wisdom to decide, is this a collaboration scenario? This company or person is coming against me. Do I collaborate with them? Or is it time for a showdown because only one of us can win this battle?
How can someone recognize when their sense of personal value is holding them back from reaching their full potential?
The key thing to look at is whether your value tells you if you are up to it in terms of fighting that particular war. Because often when you fight a battle, before you even go out to meet the enemy, and in this case, the enemy is an analogy for a situation in business. Before you even go out, you need to look at your own inventory in terms of the battle gear that you have. Have you fought similar battles before? Have you won those battles? Do you have the right generals in your army? And if your sense of value falls short, it will really mean that you might not even go out to fight the battle because you've already lost before you even began.
Are there any steps that you would like to recommend for someone who feels trapped in a situation that limits their growth?
Do an assessment. What's holding me back? What am I missing in my armory? So if you look at what the Bible says about war analogies, it talks about putting on the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, and so on, the helmet of salvation. And that's an example of a principle in the Bible where these steps involve looking at how are you dressed up for the battle. So I'd say those steps are linked to finding out what weapons you can add to your inventory and then learning how to use them. So if I apply the metaphor, so maybe the war in the business sense involves you having to speak to a big body of people and you're nervous because you've never spoken to so many people before and they're all your superiors and they're all quite serious. Some of them are doctors. Your step might be to look at how do you hone your public speaking skills? It might mean speaking to other people and saying, I battle with public speaking in this type of forum, what can I do? And it's those sort of steps that help you to get ready.
You talked about taking the first step toward victory. What does that look like for you?
That first step is about believing that my victory is secured. Because if I have that belief, it will give me enough confidence and enough perseverance to be able to tackle that challenge with a really positive outlook. So that first step is the belief that my victory is secured. And it's not being arrogant. So you can't be arrogant in thinking that you'll win every battle. But every battle that you go in, there could be some form of victory. If you don't come right, it might be that you've got an amazing new learning that you will take forward, or it might be that you nurture a relationship or get to understand someone's point of view even better. So I think with every battle that you got to face, just being confident that there will be some form of victory. We are not God, so we can't figure out what that victory will look like. But just knowing that that victory will be there.
How do you build confidence and a victory mindset to move forward, even when you don't believe in yourself? Yet, maybe. Let's put that with it. Yet.
The confidence building is really an incremental process. It's about being tried and tested. So, for example, when I became a CEO of a company, it wasn't overnight that I was immediately confident in my role. But in the early days, there were certain things that I had to deal with. And as I succeeded in the smaller things, I was then able to tackle the bigger things. So confidence building is a journey. There's no button that you can switch on. And yeah, maybe you can read the motivational quotes and so on, but that don't build your confidence. Confidence building is about testing yourself. So if you look at lion cubs, so they go out on a real hunt, you'll find that the mother lion will have play battles with them. And over time, that lion cub becomes more confident in how to secure the hunt. So it's an incremental thing where you build slowly, but knowing that your outcome ultimately should be that you'll be successful in the real hunt when you go out to tackle your first big animal.
So confidence and building that will only happen when you take action and test yourself and actively see if you can or cannot and move forward. So what role does self-worth play in overcoming setbacks or barriers to success?
Self-worth, speak to what mindset you have. Do you have a mindset that says, I can and I'm able to and I will make it and I will succeed? All of those positive statements to your self-worth. And I think the opposite of self-worth is believing that you're not worth it. And if you're not worth it, then your mind has negative statements like, I will never be able to do this. This is too big for me. I can't go out and fight this war. I need someone else to fight this war on my behalf because it's not for me. So I would look at the positive affirmations, the internal affirmations, but I'm not looking at it from a motivational speaker point of view. I'm not saying keep saying things to yourself until you believe them, because your self-worth has to have tangible things under it. I am an author, for example, and my self-worth is not from me thinking that I can write a book. I think it's more from having started the journey of writing a book and completed it. And that's what gives me self-worth for whatever the network is that I decide to embark on.
And how can business leaders tap into their true value to empower themselves and their teams?
A business leader needs to firstly know where that value is. What is that value? Value is a transactional thing. If you have, let's say, precious mineral like gold, but let's say people had never discovered gold, so you go to a planet where they don't have any gold or such minerals. Initially, that gold has a value of 0. But as that business leader says, hang on, did you know that with this amazing mineral, I can do this and that? I can make electronic chips. I can make amazing shining jewelry. As the leader does that, people start to ascribe a value to that gold that the leader is demonstrating. So I think as a business leader, you need to look deep into yourself. What are the precious elements of me, the precious minerals that I need to bring out so that other people will see that the value does exist?
Do you have an experience that you can share with us when recognizing your own value helped you to make a breakthrough?
One of my first experiences, the very first breakthrough I had was when I became a director in a big Big Four audit firm. And up to that moment, I used to see myself as a manager at manager level. And then one day when the firm leader said to me, hang on, we think you could actually become a director. You could become a fellow director in our company. When they said that, initially I was like, you've got to be joking. Do you really think I can do that? But then I thought about it. I asked them, what is it that you see in me that makes you believe I can be this person that you want me to be? And when they explained it, just the type of work that I'd done, the experiences that I'd realized, it was only then that I was able to say, oh, hang on, I actually do have value in me. And other people are appreciating and seeing that value.
I love that story that just told, because it shows that somebody can sometimes see your value before you can recognize it in yourself, and that's lovely and very inspirational. What advice would you give to someone struggling with self-doubt in their leadership role?
It's really about getting validation. If you have self-doubt, I think, Amanda, it comes back to what you said just now, that sometimes people see something in you, but you don't see it yet. So I would say it comes down to finding out where you can get that validation. And that validation must be real validation. So often people will go to their friends, but friends are conditioned to just encourage you and say positive things. You need to be going to someone that you know will be fair in their assessment of you. They might be a bit critical if there's shortcomings, but if they say to you, Amanda, I see this value in you, it's going to be real because they have something to back up their value assessment of you.
Are there certain strategies that could help someone maintain a sense of self-worth during challenging times?
The strategies really come down to preparation. So you're about to be confronted by a very difficult situation. And if you prepare for it in terms of what are the key pivots that you will make, that goes a long way to help you. So another example, I often watch Formula One racing. And when you start a race, you've got your own strategy in terms of when will I change tires? Will I go all out, or will I start slower and wait for the other teams to crash or something happens? So you run through those scenarios, but when the race begins, you don't know what the other teams are going to do because they've also got their own scenarios. But if you've prepared for every eventuality where you say, okay, if they do this, I'll react in that manner. Those are the subtle preparations that will give you that 1 or 2 second advantage, which will separate you from coming second to coming first.
Thank you, Mandla. And last question. How can leaders inspire their teams to reach their potential by recognizing their own worth?
A leader has to be separated from a manager. So a manager is not in the business of helping people create self-worth. A manager really focuses on what are the tasks that need to be required and what instructions do I need to give out, who needs to do what. So if you are very good at that, you are a great project manager, and then there's a role for managers. The difference with a leader, though, is that a leader doesn't only manage, but they got to the point of saying, I've got these 5 or 6 people in my team. What value do I want them to recognize in themselves? What value do I want them to build? And in asking those questions, the leader then becomes an agent of change in the lives of each of those people.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Amanda de Wit, and I am the Senior Editor at Luca, Faith and Inspiration imprint of Penguin Random House, South Africa.
And I am Mandla the author of an inspirational book called Conquer Your Mountains, as well as a science fiction book called The Fallen Angel.